Okay, FTL Multiverse. Absolutely huge expansion to the original FTL, but kinda sadly, a lot of players never actually get to see large chunks of it. I think it's safe to say that most players will have made it to Sector 8 and beaten up the flagship. That's pretty standard. Quite a few will have made it through the Ancient quest line and beaten up Vance's flagship as well. Quite a bit tougher with the timer that you have to deal with, but what if I told you that if you're at this stage, that you're still only in the early part of the game, or the early part of the expansion anyway. Now, it's not like there's cut-off points or anything for where early game actually starts and ends, but for this vid, I'm going to break the game into 4 sections: early, mid, late, and end game, and show a little of what the later ones entail. Plenty of spoilers coming up, so for those that like to discover this kind of thing for yourself, you should probably switch vids now. But for those that want a small peek at what the later game holds, or are just curious why the hell my supplies are going crazy here, or maybe what the hell a detergent bottle is, yes, it's actually part of the game, as is the little gnome in the corner over here, but that's all jumping ahead. So, mid-game really starts with the question, can you take on Sylvan? So, Sylvan is much, much tougher than any boss you will have fought before him by quite a long way. Some things to be aware of if you haven't tried him before. You can't crew kill him, as when you kill the last slug crewman of his, you'll get the invaders on board message, and he just pops up on your ship again with a few more friends and the fight continues on. His super shield recharges every 30 seconds, so everything else aside, you need weapons to get through that and still do some damage. He has damage resistant rooms, most notably on his weapons room, and like most real boss ships, he has an emancipation grid, making boarding difficult if you don't plan around it. While there are lots of different ways to approach this fight, my go-to strategy, no matter what ship I'm using, is to have an emancipation grid of my own. You can guaranteed get the lightweight version from the Cura quests. I also take in a mind control system and a clone bay. Then it's just a matter of taking out his weapons absolutely as fast as possible. Now, I said they're damage resistant. You can still attack them with crew and things like fire. So depending on your setup, this may mean you have to take out his door control system first, but Sylvan's weapons should be absolutely your main focus, whatever your ship setup. Once they're down, you can actually take your time meleeing his other systems. He'll be running around your ship with his friends, hopefully dying by throwing himself against your clones over and over again while under an emancipation grid. And once you've cut off his way back, because he only has the one teleporter, you can actually take your time, slowly killing off every system on his ship, and then sit back and pepper him with whatever guns you happen to have on hand. Fire makes this fight absolutely a bazillion times easier, in my opinion anyway. So if you can get crew that go well with fire, like ghosts, rocks, obelisks, or anything like that, you'll have a much easier time. Just whatever you do, don't let his weapons get too many hits on you, and you should be all good. Okay, so once you actually kill Sylvan, you're guaranteed to get a weapon reward, and it's the best weapon in the game, bar none, at least in my opinion, the Riftwaker. First time you get access to this weapon, you might even be like, now hang on, isn't this a bit too strong? Putting the game on easy mode essentially. And absolutely, yes, it's crazy strong, but it on its own won't get you through what's coming up in mid-game. Sylvan was not the end of the mid-game goals, he was your introduction to the strength of the things that we're going to be fighting in mid-game. So, where are all these enemies hiding that are Sylvan strength or stronger, you might ask? So it all starts by doing the event where you rescue Oban the Salt Man. You don't have to do him every run you're trying to unlock mid-game stuff, as once you do the event once, you're given access to his cruiser that he starts aboard. Next up, take Oban to the Hector Mega Market sector, probably one of the easiest side sectors to unlock in a run, apart from maybe Wentworth Innovations headquarters. Once there, you're looking for an ion storm in the nebula. Here you'll find Sylvan's little hideaway, and it requires a password, which Oban knows, which is why we needed him on board. Unlock it and you'll get a quest marker for where to proceed to, but don't worry, you don't need Oban every run you want to do this. Now we've unlocked the pod once, we can unlock it without Oban in all future runs. Okay, so now we're ready for a real mid-game run. Get a ship capable of taking on Sylvan, get to the Hector Mega Market, open the pod in the Ion Storm, and get to the quest sector. You're going to need to have Ether Tech anomaly scanners to find what you're looking for here, which is a portal to the Nexus, a very tough hidden sector of the game, but to get in, you first have to beat Sylvan. Technically here you can actually crew kill Sylvan and get him to surrender, but I still suggest you come capable of actually killing Sylvan before attempting this, as through the portal, the very first thing you're going to encounter is Gvan, or Gavan, I don't know how you pronounce his name. However it's pronounced, he is just as tough as Sylvan, possibly even tougher depending on your build. So after a little dialogue and maybe 5 seconds of you having no power and getting the absolute crap kicked out of you, the Oracle will interfere, you get your power back to your ship, and the real fighting can start. I have toyed with the idea of trying to crew kill his ship actually before the power comes back on, just to see what happens. But the only theoretical combo I've come up with for being able to do that with no power and in such a short time frame is with a centralized teleporter and a full crew of Dustbringers. Not an easy combination to get happening, so I haven't managed to put it to the test yet. Oh, and the Oracle, by the way, is a random encounter entity that you'll almost certainly have encountered by this stage of the game. Lots of plot behind what she actually is, but I won't go into all of that right now. Anyway, Gavan has a few tricks up his sleeve. Damage-resistant rooms like Sylvan, a time manipulator which can speed up or slow down things happening in any one room, 4 rather dangerous Vindicator guns that fire 4 shots each for 2 damage a shot, so enough to wipe out an unprepared ship in one volley. And last but not least, a trick entirely unique to Gvan, where he can freeze all crew except himself for a few seconds every time it recharges. Anyway, at the end of the fight, after choosing to spare or kill him, congratulations and welcome to the Nexus, a sector entirely populated by Sylvans from various parts of the multiverse. Plenty of shopping that can be done here, as you might imagine, and a lot of unique quest rewards that are, unsurprisingly, exceptionally strong. I personally like the hat that takes up no space on your ship and gives all your crew suffocation immunity, but there really are so many things here to take your ship to the next level that I could make an entire video on just them. Pretty much every ship you can fight in this sector is also a variant of Sylvan's ship, with 2 notable exceptions. The first is a Leah the Beammaster fight, and the other is Sylvan Prime, the boss fight of this sector, and no joke. So Sylvan's Prime ship has guns for days, more than half his rooms are damage resistant, his crew are extremely tough, and among them is Sylvan Prime himself, a unit with 600 hit points, extreme hazard resistance. He does a ton of damage in crew combat, and has the ability to deploy a breach, lockdown, and ion bomb all at the same time, every time his power recharges. So if you plan on crew killing him, go in with a plan. There are multiple endings available for defeating Prime based on your actions in the Nexus, essentially how good or evil were you. But once you defeat him, congratulations, you've reached the end of Midgame. Yes, all of that was just a prelude to late game, which it's now time to move on to, but just before that happens, as a little bonus, roughly 3 runs after you first break into the Nexus, you'll have your Sector 8 jump interrupted by an event where you find yourself in the Hoedown sector. To my knowledge, this is just a one-time thing that happens over all your games, or at least I haven't found a way to get back here after the first time. But yeah, as far as I know, it's nothing to take too seriously. It's just a little lighthearted something different before we jump into trying to unlock the real end boss of the game. Okay, so we've been through the Nexus now, so where are these late game beasties hiding if not there? So for this part of the journey, we find ourselves back in the starting hangar. Remember that detergent bottle from earlier? So it's a random spawn that happens around 1 in every 4 or so games. If you pick it up, you can get an achievement for getting it to Sector 8, but what it's really for is to signify that, well, if it's spawned at the start, it's possible in that run for you to encounter a Chaos ship. You'll know where they are when flying around by the red alien text, so you shouldn't have any problem finding them. They're very hard to miss. Once you manage to kill 3 of them over all of your runs, you'll be sent to the one that rhymes. Don't worry if you don't win this fight first try. Once he's unlocked, you can keep trying him in Sector 8 in future runs until you actually manage to get him down. I say this because he is on a whole different level compared to what you've fought up until now. As an example, most boarding strategies are off the table, as all crew abilities are turned off aboard Chaos ships. But worse, on board is the one who rhymes, a near instantly respawning being that gets stronger the more things he has around him. Things not just being a generic term here, but actually what his minions are called. Unless you're careful, when killed, things multiply into 2 things, as well as respawning at his clone base, so they can get out of hand really fast. And just for those of you thinking, well, that's okay, one that rhymes, a few things and sirens, is that all? No, that's not actually all. The enemy will also summon eldritch spawns throughout the fight, which are actually invincible minions. And, well, I haven't hung around long enough to see just how many of them can be spawned in by the end, but let's just say that the longer the fight goes, the more the odds are in the favour of the one that rhymes. This is not a fight that you can drag out like Sylvan, where you take out the weapons and then slowly kill the rest of his ship. You really need to stay on top of him from the start and get him down fast. Anyway, once you eventually manage to kill him, he kills the flagship for you and you jump straight to the end credits. You unlock a funky chaos ship, but more importantly, you unlock that gnome that I showed you briefly in the hangar at the start of the game. Okay, so now we're ready to try a real late game run. So for this, start a new run and in the hangar, pick up the gnome. Fair warning, this will make your run much, much tougher. Throughout your run, you'll encounter some rather nasty coalition elite ships that will try to kill you. These can be especially annoying in the early sectors before you've had a chance to gear up properly. If the gnome ever takes damage, your ship gets boarded by multiple enemies. This is every time he takes damage. They come out of nowhere and just cause mischief. And if he dies, he'll come back at the cost of a chunk of your hull points. All of these things all at once can cause an otherwise good run to really fall apart quite quickly. Of all the things I can suggest to make things just a little bit easier when he's on board, it would probably be an early fire suppression system actually. If he catches fire, it's just an absolute nightmare. He summons multiple times, he dies and respawns, taking a chunk of your hull with him because he doesn't have many hit points. Anyway, some fun for you to look forward to, but what we're actually trying to do is attempting to make it back to the Nexus with him on board. We want to get all the way back to Sylvan Prime and spare him after being a good guy in the Nexus. If you can manage all of that with the gnome on board, no easy task, you'll have access to the Realm of Madness, the nastiest sector in the game. I won't go ruining the entire plot here, but just so that you're not completely in the dark, the rough idea is that a super powerful and evil eldritch entity was long ago broken up into 3 parts. You've now managed to bring them all back together, but in such a way that you have support from all the Sylvans from the Nexus, so you get to chase her into a realm and try and take her on before she can have the chance to devastate the multiverse. That's pretty much it for the gnome now, as he's jumped ship by the time you get to the Realm of Madness. There are a few achievements associated with him, as well as a thing like my supplies going crazy in the hangar earlier, which is the boon you get from the judges in Sector 8 if you bring him there. But the real reason for him is really just to allow you to get into this sector in the first place. So the Realm of Madness, to my knowledge, has the same siren-infested chaos ships at all but one of the jump points. To be fair, I haven't actually cleared every single jump point in here in a run yet, just to put that to the test, or to see if maybe something funky happens when I clear them all. I'll get around to doing that someday, just to check. Anyway, by the time you get here, you're in a ship that can clear Sylvan Prime, so they really shouldn't be too much of an issue for you. I think they're really just here to wear you down a little, maybe get a few hits in to soften you up, maybe make you spend a few missiles or drone resources before you get to the real big bad of the multiverse. And it's once again the one who rhymes, but this time he or she is at full power. So you'll already be familiar with a lot of this guy's tricks from previously. Things multiplying, eldritch spawns popping up everywhere, etc, etc. He comes to this fight prepared with a few more tricks up his sleeve though. Like, throughout the fight he'll summon in random hazards. Suns, pulsars, etc. Ion storms can hurt a whole lot for a well-balanced ship. But the real problem is he has a hull strength of 77 and will almost instantly heal up any damage you do to him for the first 2 minutes of the fight. Recall that we needed to be good guys in the Nexus sector to get here, so that was plot related, but the idea is that it allows the Sylvans from there to organise and come support us in this fight. 2 minutes after the fight starts, they'll pop up with a gizmo that allows us to actually deal damage to the enemy. Until then, you just have to wear the assault, so no just burst lasering him down right off the bat and calling it game over. There's no easy way to tank what gets thrown at you here. Pretty much just target whatever's going to be the biggest problem for you. If that's weapons, focus on his weapons. If it's borders, target his 6-man teleporter, or maybe his clone bay. Weapons that leave hull breaches I find can be particularly useful here, just to slow down the enemy's ability to repair what's hit, but there's not really a one strategy fits all I can give you here to go with. I might suggest something like, hey, this weapon is great, but then if you take it in, a pulsar can just turn it off right from the start of the fight, and that's that. You never even get to fire it at all. I might suggest a clone bay for meeting his infinite minion swarm with your own equivalent, only to have him hack your clone bay from the get-go, leaving you suddenly in the lurch. Really, even the best prepared ship has to be able to adapt at least a little bit for this fight. Anyway, 2 minutes, a lot of hand-to-hand, and 77 hull points later, and if you've made it this far, then congratulations. This guy's defeat signifies the end of late game, meaning you're now, in my opinion, in the endgame. To my knowledge, there's no more big bads to unlock from this point on, no more super hidden secret sectors to find and explore, though I guess you never know for sure. But if you made it this far, then personally I think it's now all about finding the super quirky hidden stuff that's sprinkled all throughout the game, like alternate endings. You should probably make sure you get the magic hat from the Nexus if you haven't already. You can Google up how to unlock it if you didn't find it on your way through. Super useful item as it allows you to warp to any sector of your choice once during each future run. And yeah, with that, just get out there and explore the multiverse. Just as a teaser to leave you with for the kind of thing you might want to be on the lookout for if you're playing around in Endgame, did you know that apparently there's a variation of the slug ending you can do with a can of beans? So if you get a can of beans and a chaotic strawberry launcher to the Slug Crown Festival event, you can apparently, though I haven't put this to the test yet, get the can of beans crowned king. A Slug Floral Alliance starts mass producing chaotic strawberry launchers, and this all leads to an ending where slugs and florals have dominated the galaxy, defeating the rebels and taking the Federation as a trophy. Anyway, if you made it this far through the vid, then thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, do feel free to leave them below, and I promise to get back to you before too long. And yeah, otherwise, good luck with your own runs, and maybe I'll catch you around the multiverse sometime. See ya.